Welcome, it's Mike here with the Wirraway versus Heclapar play-by-mail campaign. It's the 4th of March, 1942. Preparatory landings on Borneo have seized the base adjacent to Tarakan. Escorts have linked up with task forces that were unescorted previously. That's what those merged reports were showing. Betties are hitting those battalions at Magway. Building suppression at Manila. Typical stuff. We're bombing his troops at Bandoeng this turn because we're going to try another attack since we had a good luck with the previous attack at Bandoeng. We'll see how this goes. Could potentially lead to an end to the Bandoeng campaign or not. Bombing in ×3 terrain has limited effect. Sometimes no significant effect other than small degrees of disruption. Opinions differ as to whether it's even worth doing. I think against a small number of enemy units, it works just fine. But if there's a large enemy force in ×3 terrain, you really don't get much practical effect. The attacks are too distributed, and the enemy recovers disruption losses as quickly as you can bomb. See, we're both slowly sort of reinforcing at about the same rate. It's a Changsha. Okay, let's see how our shock attack goes. We didn't quite get the 2-to-1. Just missed it. Reduced the fortifications to 1. That's good. Losses were pretty modest, except potential in the tanks. But his losses were quite a bit more modest than last turn. So close, but not quite enough. Tank regiment chasing the 1st to the 15th Punjab into Calcutta. Typical Allied bombardments. So he's moved 2 decent corps in to try to move my blocking position here. He can probably do it. It'll be close. I'll speed through the end of turn phase. A few reinforcements arrive. I'm replacing my pickets of small XAKLs with a new picket line. As these Naval Guard units arrive in Tokyo, I'm loading them up and sending them to the Philippines to get combat experience. Just about ready to land here at Tarakan. Tarakan has some decent coastal guns, 5-inch, I think, 130 millimeter technically. So this task force is being escorted by or the amphibious task force includes 2 light cruisers whose belt armor is typically proof against 4.5, 5-inch guns, but we'll see. If you recall, I did not use light cruisers as escorts in the Balikpapan invasion, and the transports were pounded. You're likely to see the same thing here, even though I have the light cruisers there, and they make good escorts against this size of coastal battery gun. The way the game model works is the escorts may or may not absorb much of the coastal artillery fire, and much more effective would be to bombard those coastal batteries and disrupt them, but I can't risk damaging the oil. It'll be a good test. We'll see that tomorrow, presumably. The shock attack at Bandoeng didn't quite get us to where we need to be, and the armor units are in trouble, so they're going to have to recover. 124th Infantry Regiment will have to recover. 4th Division's in decent shape. And the SNLFs will have to recover. So I won't try to attack again this turn. Very close, but not quite there. Let's take a look. So there's still about 480 troops at Magway, and just continue to pound away at them with bombers. finish the encirclement of Calcutta and rail in 3 divisions for the over the river shock attack. We'll do that from the direction of Jessore, and that will drive all the units that retreat into what should be their final resting place at Diamond Harbor. We are moving to prepare for an amphibious assault on Jaffna around the middle of the month. The Imperial Guards will be tasked with that. We're going to wrap up the destruction of this artillery unit while we're finishing the Calcutta campaign and prep and get shipping in place for on or about the 15th of the month to make the run on Jaffna. Right now, he does not have a lot of combat power on Ceylon, which is typical of his approach, which has been not to defend forward in India, where I can really come to grips with any of his major units on particularly favorable terms. Okay. Nothing much going on in the Aleutians. I did snoop my patrol boats that are fast transporting supplies to the Cold Bay, so he does have some naval search aircraft at Kodiak right now. He's building up Suva. But he has not bombed Norfolk since we pulled that company-sized unit out. We have engineers going to build up Tagalog Island. We'll see if he can test that. So that is about it. I think one thing that's interesting to cover at this point is the status of the submarine anti-submarine war. It's been a bit of an unusual campaign in that I don't think, let's see, haven't lost a single submarine to date. The Allies, on the other hand, have lost about 25 submarines, though to be fair, about half of those were destroyed at Manila, and a couple others were destroyed while building. But nevertheless, they've lost say 15 submarines to anti-submarine warfare. Let's take a look at how they've done in terms of actually sinking my ships. You can see these are the Dutch submarines. They've sunk 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Dutch submarines have killed 10 of my ships, mostly smallish. You can see the Mark 14s here. Mark 14 boats have claimed 2, and the S boats with their Mark 10s have claimed 3, and it looks these are British submarines. So they've gotten a couple. Now these two, these are 21-inch Mark 9s. Those were sunk Horn Island. Those were sunk by surface ships. So the bottom line is the Allies have lost more submarines um, than they've sunk ships. And in terms of if you move the Manila strike from it and destroy the building, they're still barely 1-to-1 in terms of the kill ratios of my shipping to their submarines. On the Japanese side, we haven't lost a single submarine. And these Type 95 torpedoes here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, say about 15 enemy ships to date been sunk by my submarines for 0 losses. So really interesting. The Japanese submarines certainly often have success, but I've this is a rarity that I've yet to lose a single submarine in action. Of course, kills haven't been particularly impressive either. There's some good ones, some tankers and an AK, but they missed their shots on the carriers. Anyway, interesting status right now, pretty one-sided in the submarine undersea warfare campaign, strongly favoring the Japanese. Well, we'll see how our invasion of Tarakan goes, and the Calcutta campaign is coming to its close. Looks like Java campaign is coming to its close, and China is still a significant battle as we build up for another major fight at Changsha. Look forward to our next chance to talk.